Right, so we got this fight between Benavidez and Anthony Yarde, right? I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good fight, entertaining anyway while it lasts. However, I do think the fight is a bit of a mismatch. Benavidez, he's got everything over Yarde: length, speed, experience, combination punching skills. Power-wise, I would probably rate these guys around the same level. Maybe Anthony Yarde hits harder, with a single punch. But Yarde is not really a guy that's knocking guys out with one punch. He's got power, but it's more he lands, he wobbles someone, and then he finishes them. With Benavidez, again, he's not a guy just starching opponents, just knocking them out clean, but he lets his hands go, and he puts combinations together, and he knocks guys out like that. He finishes guys like that. What I'll say is that Benavidez has not got a stoppage yet at light heavyweight. Right, he's fought Govstick and Morrell so far at light heavyweight. He didn't stop either guy, but both those guys are good opponents. They're both good movers, boxers, hard guys to stop. Whereas Anthony Yarde, he's not a great mover. He doesn't have an extensive amateur career. He never really learned the fundamentals of boxing. He got into boxing late. So yeah, he can't really move too well. His defense isn't there. I'm not saying he's terrible, but he's got a lot of holes in his game, right? That combined with the fact that he spends too much time building himself up, building his body, doing bodybuilding instead of boxing training, that limits his speed and that limits his movement, right? Because he's so bulky. So for me, he's just all wrong for Benavidez, right? Benavidez is just, the speed, the combination punching, the pressure he puts you under. I don't think Anthony Yarde's got any answer for that. Sure, he'll throw back and he'll have a go of it. He's had a go against the likes of Kovalev and Benavidez, and both those guys are big punchers, by the way. It's not like Yarde has been stopped by average opposition. He's been stopped by two of the best light heavyweights in the past 20 years. Benavidez, in my opinion, should still be undisputed light heavyweight champion. Robbed against Bivol in their last fight. And Kovalev, he dominated light heavyweight for a few years there, robbed against Andre Ward. So yeah, Yarde, he's only been stopped by top light heavyweights. And I don't consider Benavidez a top light heavyweight at the moment. But in saying that, like I said, I just think he's all wrong. I think that Yarde is a very good opponent for Benavidez. He's a guy that isn't going to cover up, doesn't have a great defense, can't block combination punching, can't move on the back foot very well. Morrell and Govstick are both guys that could really move. Guys with good amateur careers and good boxing skills, you know, so they could move away from Benavidez and last the full 12 rounds, right? Caleb Plant, another one, you know, another one that's good on the back foot, and could avoid getting stopped by Benavidez, but really he took a beating in there. So, you know, Anthony Yarde, I don't see anything that he can do to stop Benavidez. Okay, so I'm going to predict a stoppage here. I think Benavidez is going to come in. He's going to get straight to work. He's going to have Yarde backing up. Yarde, you know, like I said, he's going to throw back in moments. The only way I can see Yarde winning is honestly by landing a lucky punch. You know, just swinging something and catching Benavidez and dropping him, hurting him, and then finishing him. You know, that's the only way. But if that doesn't happen, which I don't think it will happen, then I think that Benavidez is just going to beat up on Yarde. I really think he's going to beat up on him, break him down, and I think he'll get Yarde out of there in about 6 or 7 rounds, something like that. You know, I don't really see it going past that. Benavidez is quite a fast starter. You know, sometimes round 1 he can take it easy, but normally by round 2 he's warmed up and he's landing punches, and I can't see Yarde lasting too long, you know, being on the back foot and getting beat up like that by Benavidez. So that's the way I see it. I think Benavidez stops Yarde early to mid rounds. All right, that's the way I see it. Let me hear from you.